Okay, so essentially, uh, last ending with the fact that there were people that were attempting to end slavery. Um, Unfortunately, many of the people that were wanting to end slavery weren't necessarily not racist. They had negative views about um, people of color, but they didn't necessarily believe that slavery would be okay. Okay, and so um, that that has its own sense of problems. But again, there was a movement to end it, and you know, Britain's going to be able to end slavery by simply ending it politically. We're going to kill 500,000 of ourselves in the United States before we can get that done. So yeah, that's just all I want to mention about this for now. Um, Ethnic diversity in the Atlantic world, Latin America, and Brazil. So we've already kind of talked about this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a video clip from Dominican Republic that then talks about Dominican Republic and Haiti. And keep in mind that that island uh, ends up separating into Spanish and French spheres. And the reason why I want to show you this video is I want you to see where this Western legacy still has played out on some of the topics I've talked about it with identity. I'm going to have you watch a documentary clip also on the Haitian Revolution. And I was trying to think where I wanted to place this topic and where I wanted to place this video, but I think I'll put it right here where we deal with ethnic diversity in the Atlantic world. And, you know, it's interesting that you have what white American would consider black people in Dominican Republic that don't consider themselves black and actually have racist views about blacks. And a lot of that has to do with the ethnic compositions, the way that elites from these countries would mix with locals and create kind of a racial hierarchy. Okay, that's something that was talked about in the book. And so, you know, I want you to think about that in context to the video I'm going to show you, from what I've talked about with my own daughter's family experience as being part Haitian. Okay. Um, but then also, I want to read this one section here from a book I have called Haiti, History, and the Gods. And we're going to be covering the Enlightenment, which I'm going to actually speak, for the most part, quite highly of, or in many positive ways when we go next into discussing that. At the same time, there's a relationship between all of what's going on here, what we're learning in this section, and the Enlightenment, and things that we need to kind of think about that aren't often integrated into this. So just like the United States has this amazing legacy, right, where Jefferson says all men are created equal. Like he said men, he didn't say humans, as in men and women, and he didn't really mean all humans are created equal either. He had slaves. But his idea, what he said, is important to the world. It affects the world in a positive way, what he said. His own actions didn't fully reflect that. That's kind of what I'm going to also talk about with the Enlightenment a little bit as we go with this. But from this text, it says here, in March 1685, at Versailles, Louis XIV, the Sun King, presided over the completion of what would be his minister Jean-Baptiste Colbert's greatest creation, the Code Noir, or edict regarding the government and the administration of the French islands of America, and the discipline and the commerce of blacks and slaves in the said countries. And 20 years earlier, the text says, Colbert had formed the Company of the West Indies, which sent French slavers into Africa, shipping Africans to the Americas, and returned to France with coffee, sugar, and tobacco, what we just were talking about, these commodities. The Black Code, the most barbaric product of the Enlightenment, was ignored by the philosophes These are who we're going to learn about in the next chapter. And later forgotten, or more precisely, never mentioned. Then it says, the Black Code provides the context for understanding the humanitarianism of Montesquieu and Rousseau. Had they allowed the French code of laws into their reflections on servitude, slavery, and nature, it would have made a mockery of their highest truths. In 300 years, the Black Code has never been published in English, but more significant, as Louis Salamolin reminds his French readers, the worst refinement and wickedness, the most glacial technicality in the commerce of human flesh and in genocide, remains so difficult to find that it has vanished from historiography. In any case, I just kind of wanted to point that out, and then that this was not just some sort of accidental or consequential aspect of the colonial period, but centuries ingrained into it, and ingrained into the people that are then going to be a part of these colonial worlds that are of backgrounds that are going to be seen as inferior to non-Europeans. I mean, to Europeans. So I'm going to put on this clip, and I want you to reflect on it. We're then going to talk about the British in India, and I'm going to move on then from there, talking about the encounters of Europeans and Asians, the switch there, and then we're going to talk about Haiti's revolution mixed with the United States, and then I'm going to cover the Irish Rebellion quickly. I'm going to try to actually kind of go through a lot of these relatively quickly at this point, and then we'll move on to the next chapter.